Oh, darling, keep looking, peeping, looking. Until I sit up, girl, I was so thankful when you let me in. Oh, girl, I was hungry, starving, my stomach had been. You gave me some food, Lord, from the sweet pot. And girl, it did taste so good, I just could not stop. I asked for much, oh, I just want it now. Oh, darling, keep looking, peeping, until I see stop. I asked for too much, oh, girl, I just want it now. Oh, darling, keep looking, peeping, looking, until I see stop. It was you I saw at the Reagan Strip. You was looking sweeter, girl, and the food I ate. We started to dance, Lord, put on a show. But when the clock hit 12, you had to go. I am from much, oh, I just want it now, Lord. Oh, darling, keep Reagan scraping until I say stop. Oh, I ask for too much, sweet girl, I just want it now. Oh, darling, keep Reagan scraping, Reagan until I say stop. We talk on the phone long after dark. I told you I hold your hand, take a walk in the park. I never get fresh with you, never do you wrong. Oh, girl, I won't be with you my whole life long. I am so much, oh, I just want it now, Lord. Oh, darling, keep moaning, groaning until I say stop. Oh, I am so too much, sweet girl, I just want it now. Oh, darling, keep moaning, groaning until I say stop. Now that you are with me, how the time does fly. It seemed like just yesterday when our love first started. And though we are growing old, you still have my heart. And should even heaven call, I'll be where you are. I answer for much, oh, I just want it now, Lord. Oh, darling, keep breaking and scraping until I say stop. Oh, I'm greedy for too much, sweet girl, I just want it now. Oh, darling, keep breaking and scraping, breaking until I say stop. Da 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 dee dee dee, na 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 dee, na 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 dee, na 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 dee, na 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 na, na 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 dee, na 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 dee, na 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 dee, na. I answer you for too much. Oh, Lord, I just want enough. Oh, darling, keep moving until I say stop enough. I'm ready for much. I can satisfy with enough love. Oh, darling, keep moaning, groaning until I say stop. I answer you for too much. Oh, Lord, I just want enough. Oh, darling, just giddy up until I say stop enough. Could never be too much. Oh, darling, keep moaning, groaning until I say stop. Na 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 dee dee dee, na na dee, na 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 dee, na 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 dee, na 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 dee, na 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 dee, I am the much. Oh, I just want enough, Lord. Oh, darling, keep breaking and scraping until I say stop. Oh, I'm greedy for too much, sweet girl, I just want enough. Oh, darling, keep breaking and scraping, breaking until I say stop. This is a serious fella, man. Don't sleep on him.
I ain't gonna sleep on him.
Seriously, don't sleep on this boy.
Yes, sir.
He ain't got no heart at all. And they say teeth from teeth, God smile. I believe I think he believe in that.
Brand new phone? Where? Can't find that. Time now? I just buy that. Oh Lord, brand new television. New Jordans. Gone missing. Just buy them, sell my things. Cash for gold, got all my chains. Leave your things, trying them that's a loss. He'll thief the Lord off the cross. My gal can't find her rings. We don't lie, but no it's you, king. He just come out of jail last weekend. But he done been all over being. This boy done not 3 lines. Make the punch like 15 times. No job, he rob instead. Then you got for that with the Vicky, yeah. We are talking team so tough. Then thief up all my stuff. When I get catching me done for good. Hold on, I think he has something in the bush. Hey, bud.
I ain't saying the boy is cheap. That's what you think. I just telling you all don't sleep. Better not. And I ain't saying the boy is fast. Let me tell you. I just telling you watch your. Ask me about the boy walking up the hill with a full tank of gas on his shoulder, and you know something wrong with that. Yeah, the boy got issues.
Yes, sir.
And he does lie. And I know he does lie. And you know what your mom say?
Well, what she say?
A lie is a thief and a thief is a murderer.
Real talk, Ronnie.
Amen to that, brother.
My old lady home one day, go and bake you one Johnny cake. I said, mommy, let me get a little taste. She tell me go find one plate. Come back up in that empty. The spider thief from Freddy, he nearly took one load. But he ran down Burma Road. The spider thief on my hat. I my new phone and I just buy that. He thief some sauce off my line. That's my girl, oh my, not even mine. New jeans, you rockin' with the blue. Brand new belt and a brand new shoe. I'm dressed in my go-to. Tell me, Mr. Butler, what I can do.
I ain't saying the boy is cheap. Man, you only see what I just telling you all don't sleep. That's how good he is. And I ain't saying the boy is fast. Let me tell you. I just telling you watch your. You might invite him to your house, but that boy don't play. You can be sorry. Trust me, you can be sorry if you invite him to your house. You wake up the next morning, everything gone.
What?
Yeah, that's how much this boy is thief. Charlie Brown, this is the second warning. Yeah. If you can invite him to your house, you better hire security. Hire two security, one to the front door and one.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I telling you. Yeah, you got to do it. You better do it.
Yes, sir.
I know the boy. If you invite him to the Thanksgiving dinner, he had to eat sausage. Turkey gone. For who? Oh, Lord, I'm waiting. Boy ain't got no shame. He'll teeth the X or the X side. Boy ain't got no shame. Boy, just teeth. Ronnie Butler telling you that. You touch it, it's gone.
Give me! Hey! Record scrap! Hey! Miami! Woo! Come on! Bring it! Woo! Oh, jump! Woman pull up through Miami airport door with the biggest box I ever saw. She said, take this down to Bahamas there. You get a big tip once you get it there. Nah, you know, I just wait for tips, but it's just wait me walking up my hip. I ain't but I got a thing to prove, but this the biggest box that I ever tried to move. She had the biggest box in the world I ever saw. Where all she got, who could ask for more? That means she buying Miami must be spoiled. She got the biggest box in all the world. Come on, hey! Hey! Come on, oh, it's big, I see. Man, you need to see it. Hey! Oh! Check it. Look, miss, I don't think I can handle a box this size. For me to lift this load would not be wise. She said, boy, you look like you need the exercise. But miss, for me to lift this, I gonna need at least 3 other guys. Well, I walk on the back, I try to lift. I get a little bit under my fingertips. But when it starts to rock, that's when I scream. I don't think you need me, mom. Yes, you need a queen. She had the biggest box in the world I ever saw. Where all she got, who could ask for more? That means she buy down the road, it must be spoiled. She got the biggest box in all the world. Yes, man. Hey! Oh, Jack. Come. Uncle Darcy. Come. Oh. Give may not be pretty, but see, pretty don't cut it bad. She's got all I need. She's like ideal girl. Boy, I love her. My island girl, go. Hard foot. Chop my gun. You know they talking about, listen. We went down to the dance hall just to wake up her friend. She drink 2 glasses of monkey bite. That is where she dead. When we reach home, she riding like a rodeo. Oh, this girl's a known power race on some kind of. So all you girls in town, stay there attitude. These hardy girls, them sweet like juicy food. You can always for them walking anywhere. They either got their hair in one or they shoot heel there. My hard heel girl, my hard heel girl. My hard heel girl, my hard heel girl, my hard heel girl, oh, hard heel girl, my hard heel girl, my hard heel girl, yes, my hard heel girl, my hard heel girl. My body girl, oh, my body girl, my body girl, my body girl, oh, hey, oh, come on, my body girl, this is my body.
This is the final competition. It's time to show us the best. You see, I hear all the noise you're making. I hear every word you say. There's only one thing I got to show you. It's when I shut up my body, work up my body, yuck up my body. Oh, all that I can hear is sweet Emily. You better get it with sweet Emily. Cause all you need is that sweet Emily. Only one like me. The only queen I just know is me. Oh, it's me now. It doesn't matter how you do it. It doesn't matter where you go. It only comes to one conclusion. That I'm the one who wrote the show. I'll bring in music to make you jump up. I'll bring in rhythm to make you dance. Just take a look how the people jump up. Each time I shut up my body, work up my body, yuck up my body. Everybody say, sweet Emily. You better get it with sweet Emily. Cause all you need is that sweet Emily. Only one like me. The only queen of Chuckanoo, that's me. Sweet Emily. You better get it with sweet Emily. Cause all you need is that sweet Emily. Only one like me. The only queen of Chuckanoo, that's me.
Now, why you wanna touch the crown? You better sit down. Before I bum rush you, crush you. On stage, moving like a clown. Tugging like no one can touch you. She got style, finesse. Bleed her at a whole name across the chest. The EMILY, yes, I.
Yeah, that's me.
There's only one number one, shining bright like Bahamian sun. Sweeter than sugar plus tempting. Here's the lady be representing. So who wanna test the skills? Jumping the queen, dress to kill. So you better clear the way, The queen is here to stay.
Yeah, that caused this. Queen coming through. Leave the judgment the one who's the leader. Respect the one who's in front. If you continue to bring the pressure, then I will shut up my body, work up my body, yuck up my body. Let me hear you say, sweet and my lady, you better get it with sweet and my lady, 'cause I am here to stay. Sweet and my lady, only one like me, the only queen of Junkanoo that's been. Sweet and my lady, you better get it with sweet and my lady, 'cause I am here to stay. Sweet and my lady, only one like me.
This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B and
radio station.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift, on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and making GPS a part of your afternoon. I must apologize for the late start today. Oh, traffic was ridiculous out there. I mean, true, I don't know what's going on in the streets of Nassau, but it was pretty bad today, more so than usual. And as a result, I got here much later than I had anticipated, so I do apologize for that. Today is Monday, and every Monday around these parts, we do what is called a master class with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. Let's bring him into the mix. And today's no different. We're going to be talking about the Constitution of the Bahamas, comparing it to the Bahamas Nationality Act. And as I walked through the door, he told me, Miss Malcolm, I've been looking for certain things what they talking about in this act, and I ain't find them yet. So, so we can talk about all that in a minute. But first, let's tell you how you can get in on the action and how you can reach us in case you have any questions or comments. The telephone numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for text messages or calls is 801-0271, 801-0271. And yes, we are streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm Facebook page, as well as the official Global 99.5 FM page. Also streaming live to our YouTube channels. You can also catch us on Cable Bahamas channel 974 in Cable Bahamas, and of course on your radio dial 99.5 FM here in New Providence, and welcome to all of you listening in from Grand Bahama. So that is how you can get in on the action. So let's do it. Let's go. Professor.
Yes, ma'am.
Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson, welcome back.
Thank you very much, and it's good to be here.
Good to have you with us as always.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So when we left off, comparing the Nationality Act with the Constitution, they were making mention of several things that you say you can't find.
That is correct.
What is it that they were making
Well,
mention
we have
of?
9, which we did cover.
Yes, we covered 9.
And then we go on 10.
Right. And they were talking about second schedule and third schedule. Right.
First schedule.
But you say you ain't find them schedule yet.
That mentioned in the document.
And I look into the back of the document to see if there's anything there, because sometimes they put something. Yeah, right. It's at the very, very back.
Oh, right, the very end. Okay.
Yeah, the very end. It says second schedule, first, second, and third schedule. Yeah.
Okay.
So you got to look at the very back.
Oh, okay. All right. Now
Okay.
They have a listing of different countries then.
Yes, they do.
All right.
So let's bring our audience up to speed what we're talking about. When it talked about, I'll just read 9 again.
Yes, ma'am.
Just so they can know what we're talking about as it relates to the second schedule and third schedule. It says, the minister may at his discretion, if application is made to him for naturalization in the prescribed manner by an alien of full age and capacity who satisfies him that he is qualified under the provisions of the second schedule, grant to him a certificate of naturalization, and a person to whom such a certificate is granted, on taking the oath of allegiance in the form prescribed in the third schedule, be a citizen of the Bahamas by naturalization, as shown the date on which the certificate was granted, provided that no certificate of naturalization shall be granted under this section to any person unless he renounces any other citizenship that he may possess, or in some other country under the laws of that country, he makes instead such declaration concerning that citizenship as may be prescribed. So, the first schedule, according to the Bahamas Nationality Act, the United Kingdom and colonies and West Indies associated include Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Ghana, Malaysia, Nigeria, Cyprus, Sierra Leone, Tanzania, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Tonga, Uganda, Kenya, Malawi, Malta, Zambia, Nauru, the Gambia, Guyana, Botswana, Lesotho, Singapore, Barbados, Mauritius, Swaziland, Fiji, and Western Samoa. That has to do with sections 2, 10, 12, and 21 of the Nationality Act, and we're about to turn to section 10 in any event. Now, section 5 and 9 refer to the second schedule, and qualifications for registration or naturalization according to the second schedule. I'll go ahead and read that. 1. Subject to the provisions of paragraph 2, the qualifications for registration as a citizen of the Bahamas of a Commonwealth citizen or British protected person, or for naturalization of an alien who applies therefor, are A, that he has either actually resided in the Bahamas or been in the service of the government of the Bahamas, or partly the one and partly the other, throughout the period of 12 months immediately preceding the date of the application, and B, that during the 9 years immediately preceding the said period of 12 months has either actually resided in the Bahamas or been in the government's service as aforesaid for periods amounting in aggregate to not less than 6 years, and C, that he is in the opinion of the Minister of Good Character, and D, that he has sufficient knowledge of the English language and the responsibilities of a citizen of the Bahamas, and E, that he intends, if his application is successful, to continue to reside in the Bahamas or to enter into or continue in service of the government, and either case to make the Bahamas his permanent home. And 2, the minister may, if in the special circumstances of any particular case he thinks fit, allow a continuous period of 12 months ending not more than 6 months before the date of the application to be reckoned for the purpose of subparagraph A of paragraph 1 of this schedule, as it had immediately preceded that date.
Miss Malcolm, I'm going to tell you, listening to all of that.
Come closer to the microphone for me, please.
Listening to all of that, it sounds very complicated.
Yeah,
because, see, we went through the Constitution and it spoke specifically about timing and dates. Persons who are to receive citizenship under the United Kingdom and colonies. Persons who would receive citizenship under the British Nationality Act. Specific dates, specific time, and some of the time has already been passed. So the question is, it seems to me as if some other new regulations are being made up, which are not even in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Remember now, we went back to them. We were talking about the Governor General in Article 11.
Right.
This is why we have to go back to see what the Constitution says specifically about dates and times. Very specific, right in the document. I don't see that in this Nationality Act.
Mm-hmm.
I see some other things, talking about full age and full capacity. What that's supposed to mean? I don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
At the discretion of the minister, as the minister sees fit.
Mm-hmm.
See, those kind of vague terminologies disturbs me. Because the Constitution makes some very specific things, dates and times. Once the time is passed, that's it. You see, so that is why we have to go back and see what the Constitution says about citizenship. And as long as they qualify under the Constitution, because these things now we're looking at 9 and then going on to 10, you know, we're getting all things all mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I see where they have a little piece of the Constitution in Article 10 when we get there. And then 9, it seems like there's so much confusion in that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's all tumbled up. And I don't know why they have it set up that way. But when we go back to the Constitution, it says United Kingdom and colonies.
Mm-hmm.
It speaks about those who were born in the country, those who were born outside, those who were born inside, those who are children of persons who are not Bahamian, parents who are not Bahamian, all laid out in the Constitution. Specific timing. I don't see that in 9. I don't even see that in 10.
Mm.
So this is confusing. And then where it seems like the minister has this big broad brush, you wake up tomorrow morning and decide I can make 1,000 alien citizens.
I thought it was interesting the part where it said they have to be able to speak English.
That was interesting.
Clearly they ain't following that.
I just smiled at that one. But all I'm saying is that it seems like, you know, this is such a mixed up piece of legislation, which contradicts greatly the Constitution itself, which has specific articles. You see Article 6?
Mm-hmm.
Which the governor of the Bahamas.
This is Article 6 of the Constitution, you mean?
Yeah, the
Okay.
Constitution.
Okay.
Which they couldn't get straightened out after 50 years. 50 years went by and still ain't straight yet. And now I hear now they're trying to see. Well, I heard some comments which was reported to be said by the minister.
Uh-huh.
And then comments are supposed to be reported by the Attorney General's office. I got to get the actual statements that what they're dealing with.
Right.
Because I'm hearing all kind of numbers now, Ms. Malcolm. I hear 1,400 and I hear 1,500. Well, then what do the records show?
1,500 what?
1,500 persons.
With regard to what?
With regard to Article 6.
That's the amount that it's affecting?
Well, that is what it's claimed. I don't know what that is based on.
Okay, there's an article that appears in The Guardian today. It says, Bell says Immigration Department should still accept The headline is Citizen Impacted by Ruling Remain in Limbo. Bell says Immigration Department should still accelerate current applications. And the article reads, though the Privy Council has ruled that the children born in the Bahamas out of wedlock to Bahamian men and foreign women were Bahamian citizens at birth, Minister of Labor and Immigration Keith Bell said yesterday he believes the Department of Immigration should still accelerate the approximately 1,400 applications before it from people in this category.
Now, see, the thing is now, where is the documentation that the ministry has in relation to this? Because this is a serious matter. We can't take this lightly. First, I heard 1,400, then I heard 1,500, then I might hear a different figure later on down the road. What are the actual facts? Then I'm hearing now maybe these people have to re-register again, particularly those who had affidavits. I think the government of the Bahamas has to determine to follow the Constitution, because the Privy Council didn't make any new ruling.
Mm-hmm.
All the Privy Council told them follow the law, which they didn't do in 50 years.
So the article continues. More than 6 weeks since the landmark ruling, the Office of the Attorney General has not yet publicly announced any procedures that will be followed for these individuals to apply for their passports. The Passport Office has posted a notice at its New Providence office saying that it was awaiting guidance from the Attorney General on how to proceed with passport applications of people who fall into this category. The impact of the ruling, Bell noted, is that these individuals impacted do not have to apply to the Department of Immigration anymore, but can instead go straight to the Passport Office. Bell believes, however, it would be easier for the individuals who have already applied for citizenship if they are still given expedited citizenship registration. And they're quoting him, it says, you see, if they go to the Passport Office, they will have to start all over again, he said. Whereas if we proceed and give them the certificate, they just go to the Passport Office with the certificate, and it eases the job of the Passport Office.
Ms. Malcolm, I have problems with that right off the top. Because you're talking a span of 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
One, the single Bahamian father, at the time of the birth of the child,
Mm-hmm.
has to be Bahamian.
Right.
To a woman he's not married to.
Right.
The point is identifying correctly the children and the father, the
Mm-hmm.
child and the father,
Right.
or if any number of other children.
Right.
And what is the procedure for doing that? Because you can't just have anybody come up and say, I'm the father of these children.
Well, I would think not. I would think that there's
But
got
see,
to
this
be
is
some
what has
kind
to
of
be
procedure.
clear. And that's why I'm saying the statement that the minister has, what is purported to the minister said,
Uh-huh.
is not clear at all. You just can't tell people, go to the Passport Office and just as business as usual. This is a very serious matter that has been lingering for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which means there has been tremendous neglect by the government of the Bahamas, the Passport Office, the Attorney General, the Parliament of the Bahamas, and the Cabinet of the Bahamas. All of those factors are responsible for what has happened over that 50-year span.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't jump up and say, just go to the Passport Office and we'll continue from where we were. What kind of nonsense is that? That doesn't make any sense. Because it has to be clearly identified who is who. Were they really born in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? They have been born elsewhere. Because the article is very specific. Born where? To whom? Where? And this is what I've said from the very beginning. The government of the Bahamas, the Attorney General's office, the Cabinet of the Bahamas, the Parliament of the Bahamas have been negligent in following the details as mentioned in the Constitution. They failed miserably on that. So I am to believe now, because the man says 1,500. Where's the evidence of that? Then I heard another figure, 1,400. To I heard 1,200, or maybe 1,100. The Bahamian people need to see the evidence and know what the real facts are. That has not been cleared up as yet. I hear a lot of statements being made, suppositions being made, maybe this one saying that, the next one saying that. Why did you go all the way up to the Privy Council? Because you didn't believe what the Supreme Court said anyhow. You didn't believe what the appeals court told you anyhow, follow the Constitution. The Privy Council had to tell you, all they said was, there ain't no new ruling. All they said to them was to follow the law. It has always been there for the last 50 years. But they have failed to do it. Now, they have to tell the Bahamian people why. But the point is, a serious injustice has been done to the single Bahamian father and his child or his children with foreign women. It's just as simple as that. And that needs to be fixed. And you don't take that lightly. The psychological damage that has been done to the fathers and to the children, and possibly even the mothers, who had to go through something for 50 years, and then all the Privy Council told them follow the rules.
I want to read a comment coming in from one of our Facebook viewers.
Yes,
this comment is coming in from Glenn Roll. Glenn says, one would think that implied in Minister Bell's statement is already due diligence by immigration departments so far as applications are concerned. If that's the case, I can appreciate Mr. Bell's recommendation provided immigration exercises due diligence. How do you respond to that?
But see, the thing is, they haven't had no due diligence. There hasn't been any, Ms. Malcolm, for 50 years. So what do you talk about due diligence? There is no evidence to show that any correctly, constitutionally sound due diligence was done for 50 years. So don't talk no nonsense in my ears about the department applying due diligence. Because it never happened. Okay? It never happened. So it's like starting all over from scratch. We have to be certain that the father is who we say he is and the children is who they say they are. We don't know that. Some people write any crap on a piece of paper and say, I'm this. Where is the evidence? Where is the procedure that is going to be used to determine the fathers and the children? What are we going to do about that? We just take one piece of paper where they write something on and say, I'm the father. Oh, that's my daddy. Is that what we're going to be doing? Is that the kind of nonsense we're going to be doing? Because there was no, by the mere fact that it went all the way to Privy Council shows you there was no due diligence at all for that 50-year span. Nothing. Not in relation to the fathers and their children, Article 6 of your Constitution. So you got to start all from scratch.
So they're also in this article quoting something to Prime Minister Davis. It says, Prime Minister Philip Davis has said the government will work diligently to implement the Privy Council's decision and review the existing citizenship legislation to align with this new development. We are looking to accelerate those applications, Bell said. We have done our due diligence. The main thing is that we ensure that where certificates of naturalization are being issued, that there is no fraud and there is no deception, and that these persons are not imposters. He said the 1,400 applicants applied for citizenship prior to the Privy Council's decision, and their files are already all in one place at the department. Since immigration already has the files, done the due diligence, it should proceed with it moving forward, he said. He also said that there should be a new multi-agency unit established in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to deal with future applicants. Otherwise, the passport office will be inundated with applications, he said.
So who's responsible for determining the citizenship status of these people? Is at the passport office. Has that authority been shifted to them?
I don't think so.
Well, it seems like that's what I'm apparently hearing. See, the messages are all mixed up.
Well, one of the things
Okay.
that they're attributing to Mr. Bell in this article, he said that the issue is compounded when applicants do not have a birth certificate but an affidavit.
Well, the birth certificate could be fraud too. That could complicate issues. We got all kind of false birth certificates out there. Okay, birth certificates and affidavits could be fraudulent.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a major problem in our country. So don't tell me no nonsense about no due diligence. This thing been hanging around for 50 years. And it had to go all the way to the Privy Council. So when you start telling me about due diligence by the Department of Immigration, I take a dim view of that. Because I don't see any evidence, no hardcore constitutional evidence that that has ever been done.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular case, this is just Article 6. I won't talk about the other ones.
Right.
But let's deal with that one and see how the government of the Bahamas, the Parliament of the Bahamas, the Attorney General's office, who's supposed to give the government, supposed to be the chief advisor to the government, that's in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Look how they've handled the situation. And you can tell me about due diligence? So why are we in this crap now and you can tell me that there's due diligence? Where is the evidence of that? I just can't take his word and say that's what it is. I'm hearing 1,400, then I'm hearing 1,500. Tomorrow I might hear 1,000. Then what?
So what are you suggesting, Professor?
What I'm suggesting is this: the government of the Bahamas need to take this matter very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously something went wrong over a 50-year span.
Right.
So we have to dig deep to find out what went wrong, who is who are these fathers, who are these children, and have them clearly identified so that we can give to them what is justly due to them. You just can't have people coming up and saying, I'm the father, that's my daddy. Because that's confusion right there. So we just can't lay down and say, okay, just go to the passport office and continue business as usual. Obviously, that can't happen. Mm-hmm. And if they're doing that, that's not giving justice to the country.
So are you of the view then that it is imperative that DNA testing be a part of the process?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
We have to know who the children are and who the daddy is.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of nonsense is this we're doing? Talking about you could just go to the passport office. Give me a break, man. That's why the Privy Council only told them to follow the law. Ain't nothing new. The law was always there from July the 10th, 1973, and I get very disturbed when I hear people talking about new law. It's the Constitution, Article 6, as clear as day, what the governor of the Bahamas did not understand for more than 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
The issue, the problem is with them, those who were responsible for governing the affairs of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Cabinet, the Attorney General's office, the Parliament. They're responsible.
Okay, we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes, how you doing, Michelle Malcolm?
Good, how are you?
I'm all right. On to the professor.
Yes, sir, how are you?
Everything blessed.
Okay.
I wanna share something with you. Listen real close because I speak in, and what I speak in is fact.
No, you gotta speak. Caller,
they have a lot of other people, we call them other people, who came in. You have some woman who was pregnant, and some who came with a kid on the boat or whatever the case may be, right?
Mm-hmm.
They might have Haitian national that gets straight, and you know their job is to go and say, okay, we adopt these children or correct these children as their own. You get what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little underworld. Rather you believe that it's a little underworld thing was going on. Now, my question to the professor, right? Not directly, but I'd like him to answer this. If the government made this mess, right? They had to know what they was doing when they made this mess. Because it sounds like when I listen to y'all, go way back with Finland, when he didn't want somebody to get citizenship or whatever the case may be, and they had to go into the Privy Council with this guy to get citizenship, and I said, this is block me and elsewhere. And then he get that statement, if we ain't ready, if you don't fight for the country, you don't. They know exactly, to me, the government know exactly what it is they was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't, to me, it just, they know exactly what it is they doing. Now, here's this thing what I want to ask him. If they have a problem of getting the fathers them straight with the kids them, what can happen when they have to go, when they go to the Privy Council to find out that these people ain't really citizens, right? Let's just say that come back and say these people really ain't citizens. And I think the population is half-half. What it is they can do with the people? Because if you granting New Bahamian citizenship, right? Follow me good. And the people saying, okay, these kids is my kids. And you see how you mixing up that soup pot? And to me, that's a scary thing because nobody looking at the big picture. Because I think on one end, you got blackmail them saying they can raise money to go. And I can enter what I can enter for funds to go fight that. What it is the government can do when this come back to find out, okay, one group of people, a large group of people ain't citizens. What it is they can do with all of that mess. Because to me, this problem, what they have right now, they can't solve it because they still look like they lost with it. Even if you listen to Keith Bell, he's still issuing out stuff. It's like he ain't taking nobody advice from nowhere because they only registering what it is they doing. And to me, that's crazy because now you have two big pending problems on your hand. Two big that's a serious problem how I look at it. Because to me, they making New Bahamians. They making New Bahamians. So what it is they can do, Professor, I love you to answer that. What it is they can do, even when you then address this one with saying how I fully believe, go marry on them. You're not the father. Go marry on them. Right? That's it. That to me, that is. Ian, you're not the father. And move on. I'm just saying, after that, what it is you can do when you get the citizens who believe they're citizens, right? Who believe they're citizens, and they find out through our constitution that you're not citizens, how the government is going to deal with that. And I can hang up and listen to that, but would the government apologize to the one thing what I'm waiting on is the apology. Would the government ever apologize to Bahamian people for what they done to us, what these other people, because if you listening to them, if you see that video with the immigration, how them other people talk to the immigration department was totally disrespectful because one time ago, when they hear immigration coming, they used to run. Now, their children turning around and standing back and firing back. Disrespectful in the immigration, them out to going. They're seeing no game, but it is what it is. Thank you all for listening, man.
All right, thank you for calling.
Well, the caller raised some very valid points.
Mm-hmm.
What Blackmail and his team is doing, that's a different matter altogether. And it is a constitutional issue. And it has to deal with the Bahamas Nationality Act, the validity of it. And there are certain persons who have gotten citizenship under this proposed act, which we know is not constitutional. And the thing is, all we want the government to do is to follow the law. If the government is not following the law, then the people of the country have to deal with that government. I'm not particularly concerned about what they're going to do. What I'm particularly concerned about is that the law must take its precedence, the Constitution. When a government fails to honor the Constitution, those people shouldn't even be governing the country if you don't want to honor the Constitution. The Constitution being supreme. That means you show total disrespect to the people you're supposed to be governing. And there's a way to deal with them kind of people. So now, what could eventually happen? They could have a double whammy. And the possibility exists that could very well happen. Persons who were labeled Bahamians by fraud through an act that has no legal standing. None whatsoever. This Bahamas National Act, what we're going through now, this has no legal standing. None whatsoever. But they're using it. Now, the Bahamian people have to look at it objectively, and you got to raise hell. We just can't sit back and allow our country to be invaded by a bunch of persons who never qualified to be citizens according to the Constitution. It's a Constitution that is to be respected. But we have, and that's why I'm saying, Ms. Malcolm and me, before we got into this, when I was looking at 9 and 10 and them funny things that they got in there, I said, well, where did this come from? And that is why I go back and look at the articles on citizenship that are entrenched, ironclad, could only be overturned or changed by a referendum. That's the only way it could be done. This current administration isn't interested in no referendum. They want to do their own thing. Fine. The Bahamian people have to deal with that. All I'm saying is that I am interested in seeing that the government of the Bahamas, since this had to go all the way to the Privy Council, and all the Privy Councils said, didn't bring nothing new, all they told them follow the law in the Constitution. And that is the clearest citizenship article. One line, and they got it all botched up over 50 years.
All right, we have to take a break. The more and more we dive into this, the more complicated
it becomes. Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
This is truly a web of confusion.
Total confusion.
But we're going to do our best to try to,
But see, it is my duty to tell the Bahamian people the truth. The Constitution, that's why I listen carefully to what the caller said. And he has some valid points. I'm not going to disagree with him on those points because he's valid. He's concerned. But once the ruling comes down, it will come down in favor of the Constitution, because those people in that place don't play when it comes to these fish fry things that people are putting in front of us. The Constitution is the law, the supreme law. And I think the government of Bahamas need to understand that. Govern according to the Constitution. And the Bahamian people will be happy. Not because of someone say something because that person said. And see, I noticed the twisting of tongues now with different ministers of the government of the day. You go back and you read and study the things they say. And then look at this act as the minister thinks fit. As it satisfies the minister. Come on, what are we saying?
We have to take a break. That's what we're saying.
Okay. You take a break.
Let's take this break. When we come back, we're going to continue this masterclass on the Constitution. We're comparing it to the Bahamas Nationality Act to see where the two agree and where they do not. We have our guest today is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
99.5.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company with Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson. We are streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages, as well as on our official YouTube channels. The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 8010271, 8010271. You can also catch us on Cable Bahamas on channel 974. And you can also download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and check us out there. Alternatively, radio is always an option. 99.5 FM on your dial here in New Providence. And of course, we'd like to welcome our audience from Grand Bahama as well. So my guest today and every Monday is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson. Boy, we're trying to make sense out of this web of confusion that appears to be the Nationality Act compared to the Constitution and everything that, where it meets in between, it doesn't meet at all. We're just trying to sort it out. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Michelle.
Hi, JT.
Good afternoon, Sidney. Good afternoon to the Bahamas. I heard a little bit of the last caller, at least your responses to his concerns. The one question that I have and always basically would have is, while somebody needs to take the matter to the Privy Council in order to get the ruling on the Constitution,
What do you mean? What do you mean?
In terms of getting a ruling on whether or not a statutory law is constitutional.
No, constitutional law.
Pardon?
There can't be statutory law, constitutional law.
I don't think you understood what I'm saying.
No, I heard what you said. I heard clearly what you just said.
Okay, well, what I'm getting at is this.
You said statutory law, and I said no. It has to be constitutional law.
The Constitution is supreme. I accept that. I believe that. I'm all for that. What I'm saying is, when it comes down to anything that is clear or unclear, I should say, or confusing about what the statutory law says as opposed to the Constitution, obviously we take these matters to the Privy Council, don't we?
But the professor's point is
getting mixed up again.
You don't need to go through all that because the Constitution is the supreme law.
That's the only law.
It is the supreme law, but obviously a lot of us don't know that, understand that, or abide by that, Cindy. It's obvious. So since many of us in this country don't know that it is, or don't abide by the fact that it is, whenever opportunities present themselves that the matter has to go to the Privy Council for a final ruling, my question is, who will then take the stand on behalf of the Bahamian people to take these matters to the Privy Council?
But, in all due respect, JT, we just went through that process, and pretty much the Privy Council just said what Professor been saying all along. Just follow your Constitution. So why are we going to waste time, money, energy, efforts to take a law to them that does not have the same power that the Constitution does for them to tell us what we already know, which is the Constitution is the supreme law. Why do we need to go through all that?
I accept what you're saying, Michelle. You are correct. We shouldn't have to go through it, being that the fact is that this is supreme law, and yes, the Privy Council say all we got to do is follow the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So we shouldn't have to go to them. Okay? My point then is, and this is my point for bringing all this up. Who now, Sidney and Michelle, is going to be the one person or the one group in this country now to begin to hold the government's feet to the fire to ensure that they do abide by the Constitution, regardless of the political party in power? Now, we ain't talking about party politics. We're talking about government of country. I just want to say that for the benefit of the listening audience. Who is going to now take up that responsibility? Because you have so many people are afraid to rock the boat because they want to protect their job and their livelihood, and people don't want to be victimized if they stand up to be counted. So is there a body in this country that will work with and support any Bahamian individual or otherwise to pursue and uphold the Constitution of this country, financially and otherwise? Do any of you know of any such body?
You're looking for a hero, right?
Michelle, right now, whomever that be or whatever that may be, I must say, yeah, we need a hero.
And I beg to differ. My answer to you, and I'll let Professor answer, is, in the words of Tina Turner, we don't need another hero. We need the Bahamian people to see themselves as the hero, come together collectively, not one individual or one organization.
Okay.
That's a part of the problem we have right now.
Well, Michelle,
but I will let Professor answer you.
Okay. What's your words, Professor?
No, but see, let me put it this way, because I have to answer it constitutionally. Article 24.1 of the Constitution, I always refer to it, where in matters of national interest, it takes the collective will of the Bahamian people to bring change.
Yes.
One person or a group of persons could begin to change, yes, but it has to snowball to the point where you have 51% or more of the people in the country pushing for that to happen. Now, there'll be some who might oppose. That's understandable. But once you can get a sizable majority, 51, 52 and up, you are able to take the matter forward.
I'm glad.
But that is what has to be done now. There is a group that is working on that right now in relation to this same piece of legislation we're discussing, where we have hardcore proof. This is not even a law. This Nationality Act, it has no legal standing whatsoever, none whatsoever, which was passed through the House July the 5th, 1973.
From that far back, got it.
Yes.
So
And it was to commence, hold on. It was to commence July the 10th, 1973. This piece of legislation has no legal standing whatsoever. None.
So why do you think it was put in place?
The point is, I'm not able to say why. You got to ask them who was there doing the crap. But I'll tell you what we know to be the fact is that it's what it is.
The Constitution is what the Constitution is.
Yes. So when you have something that's contrary to the Constitution, it is null and void.
Right.
Article 2 tells you that.
Now, both you and Michelle made valid points. Michelle said we ought to be our own heroes. I agree with that. But you know, in any way of life, and you responded by saying nothing wrong with one person or a group of persons leading the charge, but everybody must indeed join up and become a part of the movement. That is where I agree with you, Sidney, most of all, because while you're telling us and teaching us and enlightening us, you and Michelle, about what the Constitution says, my thing is, I haven't heard, and I am one of those persons who's guilty of this, not having taken the lead, because I do not honestly know the Constitution as well as I need to in order to be able to do what I'm suggesting. So my thing is, when are we going, as a people, going to realize that we must now stand, become our own heroes, and take this Constitution and pursue it to the nth degree and demand that the powers that be do what the Constitution says? That's my key point for calling it. And I'll hang up on that point and listen. Thank you.
Well, that is, he has a valid point, the last statement that he made. You have to make demands on those who are in authority today. All right? And you have to call a spade. Whether they agree with you or not, that's a different kettle of fish altogether. All I'm simply saying is the Bahamian people have to stand up, right? And tell the government of the Bahamas, or the cabinet of the Bahamas in this case, where they're wrong. What they did was unforgivable. What they did to the Bahamian people, totally contrary to the supreme law of the land. And you have to tell them what it is. Because it's the same as if they're lost. Even trying to figure out Article 6, how they're going to deal with it. I'm hearing all kinds of different things. But I will try and get from them what is it they intend to do about what the Privy Council has ruled. Because all they told them was follow the Constitution. Ain't nothing new. That's been in existence for more than about 50 years now.
Right.
So I don't see the waiting there. And the fact that different conflicting statements are now being made, right, about creating new legislation. I don't know what kind of new legislation you want to create. It have to be certain procedures that you have to go by, which complement the Constitution. As long as they have that, then we could move.
Okay, we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Michelle, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. So, Sidney.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, great, man. This blackmail here. Let the community know you are part of that group and you are one of the leaders of that group that is going to take this forward, yeah?
Yeah,
you know
correct.
You're the chief.
Yes.
Michelle, there has basically been a ruling against the Nationality Act in relation to its efficacy with the Constitution, the Jane Rooney case. The Privy Council ruled that the Constitution, because Jane Rooney did not apply before his 19th birthday, he lost his entitlement. Any individual that does not apply before their 19th birthday loses their entitlement. In the case of the people from Hispaniola West, they have another strike against them. They cannot renounce.
Mm-hmm.
The Nationality Act, that fraudulent document, only kicks in after your 19th birthday. But your constitutionality and your entitlement ends in the Constitution at your 19th birthday. That's what makes that document fraudulent.
Right.
The Constitution ends it if you don't apply before your 19th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
The Bahamas Nationality Act then kicks in. The Bahamas Nationality Act is so bad that the Chief Justice, Sir Ian Winder, called it a lacuna. It's not applicable. It is not a law.
That's correct.
It's not a law. And so, basically, it's a fraudulent document. It is unconstitutional. It's not a law, Michelle, and it kicks in after the Constitution. What that act does, if you can't qualify under the Constitution, or the Constitution doesn't grant you citizenship, then you go to that law to try circumvent the Constitution to try become a citizen. That's fraudulent. That's a piece of garbage. When you go to the Privy Council, only one document they ask you for you when it relates to citizenship.
The Constitution.
That's the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
This is why when the government went up against Darcy Ryan, right? The government used Article 7 in the Bahamas Nationality Act, the Minister of Home Affairs, to try and stop Darcy Ryan from getting his citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
Darcy Ryan used Article 5.2 of the Constitution to get his citizenship. You know who won that battle? Article 5.2 of the Constitution.
Right.
Because Lord Diplock them came to the conclusion that the latter part of Article 7 that Sir Lyndon them was trying to use to stop Darcy Ryan from getting his citizenship was ultra-virus the Constitution, and it was null and void. Go look up the Darcy Ryan case. That's a bunch of nonsense. And any time that goes up against the Constitution is actually the gladiator in the ring.
Right.
The Constitution is.
Mm-hmm.
So the Nationality Act is a way for politicians to make money. It's a way for immigration officers to make money.
Allegedly.
Well, Michelle, make money. I have documents. I could say that. I have documents.
You could say that, but you can't say that on the radio.
Yeah, let me protect you, Michelle. Allegedly.
Please.
I got you. I got you. Allegedly. All right. So the Nationality Act is a bunch of garbage. The Constitution is the supreme law. And if you don't get straight under the Constitution, you finish. Finally, the problem the people from Hispaniola West runs into is because Article 13 of their Constitution was abrogated, which allowed them to renounce their citizenship. Since they cannot renounce their citizenship, it is in contravention with Article 7 of our Constitution, which say unless you renounce your citizenship, you can't become a Bahamian citizen.
Right.
This simply means the people from Hispaniola West cannot even follow an application because they don't qualify. Why? Because they cannot renounce. They wasting their time. And if we go by the Constitution, they wouldn't be able to get citizenship. The Chief Justice said that you have to qualify. That's what he said at the Eddie and the Fuge Law Center when he gave his speech earlier this year. There are 3 qualifications. Number 1, to be born in the Bahamas. Number 2, to apply after acquiring your 18th birthday but before your 19th birthday. And number 3, being able to renounce. All right, born in the Bahamas, they got that. Applying before the age of 19, they got that. But the problem they fall into is being able to renounce.
Mm-hmm.
Their children, in order, according to Minister Fred Mitchell, that's the law. In order for them to go to school, they need a permit to reside. In order to get that permit to reside, they have to go to the Haitian embassy and pick up a passport. Once you pick up a passport, that's confirmation that you are a citizen of some other country other than the Bahamas. Article 7 says if you are a citizen of some other country other than the Bahamas, you have to renounce.
That's correct.
They cannot renounce. I mean, we have to go to the Privy Council again for them to call our arguments absurd, like they did with Article 6, or for them to rebuke Justice Turner when they told him why did he allow a confession from a man to enter, and that was the only evidence against him. These recent rulings, we have to go. The government have to go there again to get embarrassed. I know when they look at this jurisdiction, they shake their head. Michelle, Professor.
Yes, sir.
They shake their head at us because we're doing nonsense. All Keith Bell, the immigration minister, have to do, and the prime ministers obey the Constitution. They have no standing. They know that. The Chief Justice already called that a lacuna. The former AG Carl Bell has already called that a lacuna. The former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram said that your entitlement ends at your 19th birthday. They don't even mention the Nationality Act. Thank you for your time, Michelle.
All right.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you so much
thank you
for
very
calling.
much. And I'm happy that he called
Mhm,
in.
mhm.
Because the thing is that the government of Bahamas, see, you notice 7 comes right after 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Article 6, now you got Article 7.
Right.
And this matter is going to have to go before the Privy Council because too many people have gotten citizenship by fraud
Mhm.
under this Nationality Act, which has no legal basis whatsoever.
Mhm.
Never did. And so that is the crux of the problem. That's why when the caller called early, he was referring to the fact that when that ruling comes down, you find a whole army of people
Mhm.
who purported to be citizens of the Bahamas, who got pieces of paper with somebody signed their signature on and say you was a citizen, come to find out it's false. And that is why I say the Bahamian people, the importance of the Bahamian people recognizing the predicament we're in. We're in a very serious, precarious position as a nation.
Mhm.
And it's the people who run the nation, those who were given the responsibility by the Bahamian people to take care of our interests. Now they say all kind of other funny things, what we know nothing about. We got to go and dig them all up, to study them, to find out what they are, so we can say publicly on radio and on television, as the case may be, and on the internet, whatever, that we have to have the facts. Now, on this one that Blackmail talked about, we have already done our homework on this. And every case shows that the Bahamas nationality, once you find a flaw in it, it's way off. It's no good.
So I have a comment on Facebook that says the government, this government continues to grant citizenship under this fraudulent act. Only this government, D'Amico? This thing been going on for 50 years, man.
Yeah. See, that's, but let me just give him a word of understanding. The government of the Bahamas, when you check your constitution, what does it say? The government of the Bahamas. Now, people need to understand you have different administrations, the Pinling administration, the Ingram administration, the Christie administration, the Dr. Minnis administration. Now you have this person
Davis.
right now, the Davis administration.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So that's the government of the Bahamas. They don't have to carry on the foolishness of what the government did in the past. They could stop it. They have the power in their hand to stop it. And whereas our caller was asking for an apology, that's nonsense. That's foolishness. We don't need no apology from them. There's a better way to deal with a government that doesn't follow the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
An apology will not do. The damage is too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It's too broad and too heavy. People have suffered heavily because of the negligence of the government of the Bahamas, the cabinet of the Bahamas, the parliament of the Bahamas, the attorney general's office of the Bahamas. All of them are culpable with all this nonsense that you see going on in the country. And now they are at a loss as to how they should do. This thing has to be done properly according to law.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is the duty of the Bahamian people to impress on the governor of the Bahamas We want you to follow the law. Now, we want to understand, because I'm going to dig deep into this now, to find out what is your procedure for dealing with Article 6, because you messed up for 50 years. Don't tell me about what you have done in the past. You got everything straight. That is not so at all. It shows that things have been whacked up. We have to get it right. And all the Privy Council told them, follow the law. Ain't nothing new. There's no new ruling. This law was in existence from July the 10th, 1973. So I can understand some people, because of their lack of understanding of constitutional law, they would call it a new ruling. There's no such thing as no new ruling. It was always the law. When my sister looked at it, she said, well, this is exactly what I typed, what they said. And she did. Exact quote out of that Constitution. And they messed upon that one. Now you got Article 7. We got that one has to be dealt with too. 6 right after 7. And who knows whether they be 1 or 2 more. That has been jacked up for 50 years in this country. That is wrong. So Bahamians need to understand we're in serious trouble. And it's going to take legal fight. Of course, it's going to take another fight too now. Because there's some other things Bahamians have to do, and I try to make them to understand. You have to be organized. We're not constitutionally organized. And as JT said, he's not knowledgeable of the Constitution. I can understand that. Plenty of Bahamians don't know the Constitution. But that doesn't mean you must stay in a position where you don't know. Because you have someone, and maybe 1 or 2 others, who can help you.
Well, hopefully this show is helping in that regard.
Well, a lot of people tell me the show is helping tremendously. They're getting a lot of understanding about things they didn't know. That is why I have a responsibility to tell them when the government messes up or fouls up, I would say live on air, that the government is wrong. They've messed upon the Bahamian father, the single Bahamian father, and his children for the last 50 years. That's a fact of life. The psychological damage to those children, the psychological damage to the mothers of those children and the father. That is wrong. Of course, there are some other factors to deal with that. But the government of the Bahamas has a responsibility with as many agencies. I don't know what kind of advice the Attorney General can give them, but they're supposed to be the chief legal advisor to the government, the Attorney General himself. And whatever advice he gives them, they probably will follow that. But the point is it constitutionally sound, what he's saying or what he's giving them? That's point number 1. Point number 2, when the Minister of Immigration speaks, and the things he's saying, are they constitutionally sound? Yes or no? Because that's how I'm going to judge them. I'm not interested in the minister thinks this or he believes this. No, I'm not interested in that. Is it constitutionally sound? That's what the Bahamian people need to ask themselves. And if it's constitutionally sound, we say, bravo, fine, let's move with it.
All right. Got to take a break.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. On the other side of the break, we're going to continue with this masterclass on the Constitution. This Nationality Act, we've been spending quite a lot of time over the past several weeks comparing this to the Constitution, but it is a necessary exercise because people need to understand the difference between the two and what their rights are.
I agree with you. And see, is a lot of people didn't know these things. And the Bahamian just woke up recently last year when the Queen passed. That wait a minute now, we got to look at some other things. They begin to seriously look at their Constitution. Now, some things in there we got to protect. That's another subject by itself. But we won't get into all of that today. But the point
this confusing enough as it is, Professor.
No, this is very confusing. This is extremely confusing. And I'm glad that I studied constitutional law so I can help
unravel
the Bahamian
this.
people to unravel all this crap they got in here, talking nonsense and foolishness.
All right, let's take this break. On the other side of the break, we're going to continue with the masterclass. Stay with us. This is GPS on a masterclass Monday on the Constitution of the Bahamas.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims paint and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Track Life, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM on this Masterclass Monday. If you'd like to call in or ask a question, the numbers to call are 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp line for messages or calls is 801-0271, 801-0271. We are streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm or Global 99.5 FM pages, also on our YouTube channels. And you can check us out on Cable Bahamas Channel 974, on your radio dial here in New Providence at 99.5 FM. And you can also tune in if you are in Grand Bahama. Welcome to you all. And last but not least, you can download the Global 99.5 FM on your smart device and check us out there. My guest today and every Monday is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, and we are talking about the Constitution of the Bahamas, comparing it to the Bahamas Nationality Act, which has become necessary because there are things in the Nationality Act that don't necessarily agree with what is being what has been laid out in the Constitution. And we all know that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And so if you have a situation where something is contrary to what is the Constitution, what is in the Constitution, bottom line is the Constitution always prevails.
Amen.
So it may not be convenient for you, but the bottom line is the Constitution is always right.
Amen.
When you're comparing it to another entity or another document. So, Professor.
In fact, let me just comment on that, what
Mhm.
you just said, because see, I try to get people to understand the Constitution is always right. It is never, ever wrong.
Mhm.
Never. Just like the Holy Bible. The Holy Bible is always right. It is never, ever wrong. Now, you
Mhm.
may disagree with some things you see in the Holy Bible. You may disagree with some things you see in the Constitution. But that's your point of view. No one is knocking you for that. But they remain always correct, always right. You got to line up with it.
Mhm.
Either you line up with it or you don't. And if you don't line up with it all, I always tell people, if you want to always be right in the Bahamas, stand on the Constitution. That's what I work on every day. Stand on the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and I will always be right.
You know, this reminds me, I don't know how many of you out there heard our show on Thursday of last week when Pierre DePuche was a guest on the show.
Yes, I heard him.
And we were talking about the economic hitman over the generations and how it's evolved into what we see happening now today. But much of the success of that kind of covert action depends on the ignorance of the masses.
That's correct.
So the less you know, the more that they can get away with doing things.
That's correct.
And the more you know, the more you say, oh, wait a minute now. Hold on. This ain't adding up.
Yes, ma'am.
So could it be that the framers of the Nationality Act understood the principle? I don't know if I'd call it a principle, but understood that most or many of the masses will not take the time to learn the truth, but only go by what they are spoon-fed. Before you answer that, we have a call. We have a call on the line.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, I can let you ponder that while we hear for this caller. Caller, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
Hi. Okay, first and foremost, caller, you have to turn down whatever you're listening to us on and just listen to us through the phone because we're getting feedback, okay?
Let me take you up speaker.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, go ahead now.
You hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I hear you now?
Yes, please proceed. I'm still getting some kind of
very low
feedback though, but go ahead. Caller, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please proceed. Yes.
Awesome. Well, if you're Amos Junior Miller, a political exposed person, you're lucky to call you on WhatsApp because I only had a few minutes on the phone. But you know what? I give up. Forget it.
All right. Let's get back to the question.
Put the question out there again, please.
Could it be that the framers of the Nationality Act understood the concept, or I don't know if concept is the right word, but understood that many of the persons who make up the masses will not take the time to educate themselves on what is in the Constitution and what their rights are? They will just be happy with being spoon-fed by the very persons who framed the act. So as opposed to learning for themselves what their rights are, they just go by whatever they're told.
let me answer that this way.
Mm-hmm.
See, at the time when there was that change in 67,
Mm-hmm. Talk right into that mic for me.
there were the masses of the people
Mm-hmm.
who they didn't even have a sixth grade education.
Mm-hmm.
They were put out of school at 13.
Okay.
It happened to my mother and father. But they happened to have jobs where the minority people had to work with them. My mother was a nurse, registered nurse. My father was an engineer,
Mm-hmm.
the BEC. So those type people, they had to work with them no matter what. They had sick people and they need light in the house. A lot of other people who were in the tourist industry, working the hotels, working in people's homes. My mother used to tell me how when they come to get water, they had to give them a tin can. You know, them cream can, the sweet milk can.
Mm-hmm.
They had to use that. They couldn't even give them a cup to drink the water out.
Okay.
So what happened is that in that kind of environment, the people trusted their leaders. They didn't know. They didn't understand. No one ever taught them the Constitution.
So in other words, they didn't have the education
No, they didn't have the education.
Okay.
Even those who, like my mother and father, didn't understand the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
But they made sure, put me to school, gave me an opportunity that they themselves didn't have.
Right.
So I know better today now because of what they did and sacrificed to help me, plus 11 other pigeons they had. But the thing is that the people trusted them.
To do the right thing.
To do the right thing, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that has continued for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
Bahamian people still today, in all these constituencies, they look to their representative to deal with problems that they have.
Mm-hmm.
But that has never happened. And it is sad to see people just hanging on to coattails of a particular personality. But that's how they were brought up. Now, today we have to realize that, they just have done us a terrible injustice. And maybe they thought that, this would continue indefinitely. But it can't continue indefinitely. People's minds are being opened. And the greatest awakening so far was on when the Queen passed on September the 8th last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so the people begin to look and say, wait a minute now, something's wrong somewhere. What about our constitutional rights? And I'm happy to see that Bahamian people are waking up to it. But there were others now during that 50-year span. You got another crew out there who had the opportunity to have the information, have the knowledge, have the understanding. And what did they do with it? Put it under a bushel. They wouldn't even lift a finger to help their brothers and their sisters when it comes to legal matters. They wouldn't have to educate them. And so that has been a major problem. But then there's still hope for us. We have people who understand and who know. And so we have to work with what we have and bring people online so they can be educated and they in turn can help their less fortunate brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
That's what has to happen now. See, I am glad that I studied constitutional law. I never knew the time would have come that I would have been live on even talking about this. That had not entered into my psyche many years ago. I wasn't looking forward to that. When I went to see that lawyer in 1971, I wanted to understand something about something that bothered me at that time.
Mm-hmm.
When I came out of the office, you know what my mind told me? You need to know the law for yourself.
Mm.
And from 1971, I never turned back. But I had to decide, now what are you supposed to study? Because you got all kinds of things around here. You got real estate law. You got criminal law. You got this law. You got that law. You got national insurance law. All kinds of things. And when I came to see the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, the Supreme Law, as I jumped straight on that, and I ain't turned back since.
I want to read a comment coming in from one of our listeners. This comment is coming by way of WhatsApp. It says, the beating of the horse that is already dead must end. The Nationality Act is fraudulent as we know it. The question is, are Bahamians going to keep on letting the government knowingly go on as it has been, knowing what the Privy Council has ruled?
That's an excellent comment. I like that kind of comment because it's, the person is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Bahamians, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have to unite. You're going to have to unify. Put aside your personal differences because the nation is in serious trouble. We have some serious issues to deal with. We have a government in place that is so unmindful about the constitutionality of the situation we're in. So it's going to take the Bahamian people to take action. That's why you have Article 24.1, that last phrase in Article 24.1, which I've referred to for many years, which most Bahamians didn't understand. We have to rise up to protect our own interests. You cannot depend on the government of the Bahamas to do it for you. It's just as simple as that. While you respect the government, yes, the people have elected them, no problem. They have a responsibility to do, but they are not following that responsibility. We have to put the pressure, and we got to turn up the pressure on the representative, on the government of the Bahamas, on the Parliament of the Bahamas to say, listen, that is wrong. That is not right, according to law. And the more of us organize ourselves on the ground in your communities where you live, because the Constitution talks about constituencies, it talks about persons coming together to bring change in their communities and in the nation as a whole. It has nothing to do with you being a member of a political party. The Constitution speaks to that too. You could do it with that. Just like you go to church. Nobody is bothered with you. You go to the Anglican church, you go to the Catholic church, you go to this church, that church. No problem. But as constituents in a given constituency, as Bahamian citizens, there's only one thing that unifies the Bahamian people in this country. That's the Constitution. That's the supreme law. And if you organize yourselves, and you ain't sure how to do that, I can help you with that one. I'm a specialist on that one. Because I know this is a major weakness with the Bahamian people. They are not constitutionally organized. We got to fix that. If we're going to make headway in this country in changing things, we have to be constitutionally organized.
All right. We are going to take a quick break. And then on the other side of the break, we didn't even get to 10. We were supposed to start Article 10 of the Nationality Act today. We didn't even get there because we had to clarify what the second and third schedule was all about.
Exactly, yes.
That was referred to in Article 9 of the Nationality Act.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're going to take a break, and then we'll see how far we get after the break. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Global paradigm shift will return after this.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
This is Global Radio 99.5.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here, along with Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson, on this masterclass Monday as we look at the Constitution of the Bahamas. You know, Professor, we have some people in this country, they're so shallow they'll drown in a cup of water.
Yeah.
I think one of the main things that people continue to miss, and you say it very often on this show, that this isn't about your support of a particular political party, whether it be any of the two that have been around for the longest or any others. Because quite frankly, the Constitution doesn't belong to any particular party.
That's correct.
I think you need to spell it out again.
Yes, ma'am. Let me just say this. The Constitution allows for political parties to exist.
Absolutely.
So we're not going to interfere with that.
Absolutely.
Just like the Constitution allows for churches and lodges and schools and other entities to exist. And you will find an individual may be a member of the lodge, member of the church, member of the school board, same person, got 6 or 7 different functions. But as Bahamians, we have one nation called the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And we have to protect the interests of this nation. We are constituents in a given constituency. The Constitution says 39 constituencies as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the minimum you could have is 38.
Mm-hmm.
You could have 38 or more. And if you're going to have less constituencies, then you got to change the Constitution.
Right.
Just as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just say this. Bahamians have to learn to understand. It has nothing to do with you being a member political party. Being a constituent means that you are a part of a particular constituency. You and all of those who live in that constituency. I was just talking to my neighbors right across the street from me. I say, see all these trees here blocking the light? What's wrong with us getting together and having these trees cut so that the light could shine brightly, so whoever passes here can be safe? I say these are simple things we need to think about. Constituents need to understand that there are issues that affect them in their particular constituency. You have a representative you can speak to who is to represent you in Parliament. Whoever that person is right now, that's your representative in the House of Assembly.
Right.
And that person is responsible, Article 52.1, for the peace, along with others, to Parliament, that's the House of Assembly, along with the Senate and the Governor General, Her Majesty the Queen. That's Parliament. Her Majesty the Queen, well, now you got one king in England now. But our Constitution says Her Majesty the Queen, a Senate, and a House of Assembly.
Right.
So now we elect people to go to the House of Assembly. So you speak to your representative when it comes to these laws that we have. For the peace, 1, order, 2, good government. Well, in these constituencies, plenty of things are happening that are terrible. People are being terrorized. You had 3 just died over the weekend. And an area where a relative of mine lives, fella knocked on one person's door. The fella opened the door and he was shot to death right on the spot. And it's very, very serious. And we as constituents need to look at these things, see how best we can work with one another without getting personal. And this is another problem I find with us as Bahamians. Why do we like to get in people's personal business? I've known people for 50 years, husbands and wives, very close to the wives, very close to the husbands. I know nothing about them being married. They ain't tell me nothing. So that ain't my business. And when I find out that the 2 of them are married, I say, nobody told me. 2 of them laugh at me. I know how to get on well with the Bahamian people without getting personal in their personal affairs. Now, a lot of them to tell me some things, I can't talk it because I got to go home and pray about that, and then the Lord help me to forget it. But all I'm simply saying is, constituents, we have to work together at the constituency level to bring needed changes. And you could work with your representatives, nothing wrong with that. That's constitutional. I'm trying to get you to act constitutionally. But you have to be organized as constituents in your local constituency. That's step number 1, in order to bring about any change. And you got to get the overwhelming majority of them, 51% or more of them, to agree with you, which means you have to communicate with them. You got to talk to them. You can't turn up your nose at people.
We have a lot of people walking around in fear. But the bottom line is you have to understand there's more of us than them.
That's correct.
And if we allow them to continue to hold fear over our heads, then we deserve what we get.
Bahamians need to, and I'm not disagreeing with what you said, Ms. Malcolm. You hit the nail right on the head. But the Constitution gives you tremendous freedom. You don't need to ask them people your freedom because they ain't got none to give you. The Constitution gives you those freedoms. See, a fella like me, I ain't checking for none of them when it comes to freedoms in the Constitution. Freedom to express yourself freely, as I do on these airwaves, without interference. You don't put the station in no difficulty, cause trouble for them. No, I need the station to help me to get the message out.
Right.
You got to be a stupid person to work against yourself, and the Constitution forbids you to do that. So freedom of expression, freedom to impart ideas and opinion, freedom to do things, Bahamians. Look at the people down in Sudan. All kind of problems. They lost democracy. And Bahamians, we cannot afford to do that. There's no need to be fearful. You have to be bold. Let us utilize the entrenched freedoms in our Constitution. We need not be afraid of those who govern us, I'm not afraid of them. You tell them boldly to their face what you have to say, but do it respectfully, of course.
But the bottom line is one man can't stand alone. You need to come together as a collective.
That is important. And so that's why I'm saying to people, if you're not sure how to do it, I want them to call me.
Charge your number real quick.
465-5786.
Okay, one more time.
Just call me. 465-5786.
All
I
right.
keep that number on all the time. Only when I go to sleep, I shut it off.
Well, Professor, I want to thank you so much, as always, for bringing such a wealth of knowledge to us.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're going to continue to do our part.
We certainly will.
And then, hopefully it'll spur some kind of action and we'll get people moving in the right direction. Because we've been at this for 50 years. We can't allow another 50 to pass.
No, we cannot.
Without getting it right.
And we must get it right. We're going to have to start from this day onward. You must tell the representative, you must tell the government when they're wrong. And you have to point it out to them and say, no, it don't go that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's not in our best interest. If they're doing something and see these things where they say they give out information for people to look at,
mm-hmm.
They call them what name they use to call them?
White paper?
Not the white people, but they call them stakeholders.
Oh, okay.
But I know stakeholders because they never give me nothing. I never get nothing from them yet. But they could send it to me. They know how to reach me if they want to. But I'm not running behind them to be no stakeholder to them.
Right.
I deal with the Constitution. I stand on that. I know I'm safe when I stand on the Constitution.
That's the stake you hold.
I won't hold on to. Amen.
Professor, we got to get out of here. Thank you so much once again. God willing, we'll be back at it next week, Monday.
Yeah.
I promise I'll leave home a bit earlier in case we face some plenty traffic again. So we can start earlier. All right, that's my time, guys. I want to thank you all for being a part of the show today. Tomorrow, we're going to have a very interesting show. So be sure to tune in to check it out. As always, it's going to be thought-provoking. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good afternoon and be safe, everybody.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that